Update. Am I the a-hole for letting my pregnant daughter live with me, even though my girlfriend says no? Original post. I, 40 male, have an 18-year-old daughter with my ex-wife. We'll call her Maddie. We divorced when she was 7, and I had her 3 weekends a month. Her mom moved to a suburb almost an hour outside the city to be closer to her family and for a better school. My work was in the city, and after a while, Maddie got sick of all the driving and asked if we could go to a different schedule. We talked most days on the phone, and I have been very involved in her life. She's a great student, graduated with over a 4.0 GPA, has a lot of friends, and a, what I thought, very nice boyfriend. She has no idea what she wants to do with her life and had already decided to defer her scholarship a year to take classes at the community college and work. I also have a girlfriend, Vera, 37, and she gets along with Maddie great. We've been together about 2 years, and she just moved into my house a few months ago. Her old roommate got married and she couldn't afford rent alone. We'd been together almost 2 years, and I was considering proposing. So it seemed like a good idea after she couldn't find another place. She pays the electric and water bills, but my house is paid off. So I just pay taxes, insurance, and the other utilities. And it's been great. I didn't really date much the past few years between Maddie and work, so it's nice having someone always around. Vera doesn't want kids of her own, and I don't want any more, so it's been great. So for all that, Maddie is pregnant and her mom has kicked her out. Her boyfriend has another year left of nursing school and lives in a college apartment with roommates. She is, of course, staying here for now and found out late. She's due in January. She and her boyfriend went over the options and decided to keep the baby. She told me very meekly and asked if she could stay. I told her, of course, she knows this is disappointing, but she'll never stop being my baby. And if this is what's going to happen, I'm here to support her within reason. As in, I'm fine babysitting if she has work or class, and she will keep working and going to school. But I'm not babysitting for her to party or hang out with friends. If the boyfriend bails, which I was as kind as I could be but told her happens even with the nicest boys, she would need to file child support. And I would give her grace before and after birth. But when she's recovered, she will go back to doing chores on top of baby ones. I told her and the boyfriend to sleep on it, and they did, and came back with actual thoughtful responses, and even a budget goal that I found impressive. So, the tiny bedroom next to Maddie's that is currently home to a treadmill I never use is going to be a nursery. Of course, I've kept Vera in the loop during all of this, and she seemed really understanding until I told her the plan. And by this, I mean I don't know how many different ways I need to put this so it gets through people's heads. Vera and I discussed all of this before I talked to the kids. In depth, I made her very aware that the 3 of them could end up living here for a few years. She was supportive. I kept her in the loop. When them living here became the plan, she gave me an ultimatum and told me to kick my daughter out because she's an adult. I told her I wouldn't do that. She is still here and making everyone uncomfortable. She got upset and said if she wanted to raise a baby, she'd have one of her own. She said she didn't sign up for this and is not okay with it, and demanded I rescind the offer, that Maddie is 18 and needs to figure it out on her own if she wants to keep the baby. I told her I wouldn't do that. She'll always be my daughter and needs help. She threatened to move out if I didn't tell Maddie to get out, then got mad that I told her I understood. Now she's avoiding the both of us, but still staying here, or being snippy. I don't know what she expects me to do, but it's making the entire house anxious. Edit. Don't say Vera would be shocked that Maddie moved in. This is Maddie's home. She's always lived here. Yes, the rest is a surprise, but not my daughter living in her home. Now for the top comments before reading the update. 18 is barely an adult, and actual adults who think 18 is a proper age to be 100% on your own are a problem. Good job still being willing to be a parent to your child when she needs you, not the a-hole. Totally agree. Your first priority is and should always be your daughter. Coming in second is your girlfriend. If girlfriend can't understand this, then she's not the one for you. Your daughter is lucky to have a father who is loving and supportive, not the a-hole. Right. Of course I don't want anything bad to happen to my daughter, and now there's a grandbaby to worry about. Time to tell your girlfriend she can do what's best for her, but your daughter will probably be here for 3 to 4 years. Let her know you want her to stay, but your life will change. That's what I told her. She's not happy about it and being rude to me. Not the a-hole. Vera lives with you, so she gets to have an opinion and make a choice for herself, and not be okay with this and even move out. You and Vera just may not be compatible anymore, but I think Vera is being unsympathetic. Even if this isn't what she wants, she should understand you are supporting your daughter. I even told her, I understand if you can't live here. I'm fine moving forward, living apart, and still dating, but I'm not kicking my kid out. Now for the update. My last post got a little overwhelming. I'm still glad I did it. Reading the comments, I just got to the point where I was like, what am I doing? I asked Vera to talk, and she started. She actually did kind of apologize, said she was just stressed because she expected Maddie to either keep the same custody schedule or maybe a bit more, but not full-time and certainly not with a baby. And then she didn't think I'd actually let her live here with the baby. She said she'd be able to work with a compromise of Maddie and the boyfriend, let's call him Doug, getting their own place when he started working full-time, and they could promise to never ask her for help. I guess she thought as long as she had an end in sight, she would be able to handle it. I told her I understood, but her behavior was out of line and I can't see us working out after this. She was upset and seemed shocked and got pretty mad. I told her she was welcome to stay in the basement, finished, walk out, with a kitchenette, for a month while she found a new place, and I'd pay her back for the bills she'd paid, $790, so I rounded up to $1,000. She wasn't happy with any of this and was freaking out, so I called and asked Maddie if she could stay with Doug for the night. I offered to give Vera some space, and she told me to F off. I was working from home that day, so I was around but not in her way at all while she moved her things downstairs. She had work that night and let me know the next morning she'd be moving to her friends. I offered help, but again she said no and left her key on the counter. I changed the security code but told her if she left anything there, just to let me know, and I'd let her in to come and get it. So I thought there'd be no drama. I was obviously sad but felt better about the whole thing. We can't prove anything, but Maddie's carnivorous plants started rapidly dying the last few days, and she said a bunch of her concentrated fertilizer was gone. We all know not to touch them or water them, as in she had me install rain barrels because they can't have tap water. She's devastated and hasn't said it directly, but I think we both believe Vera did something to them. I've asked her if she wants me to do anything about it, and she said no. At one point, Vera sent her a nasty text saying she's the reason I'm alone, and she hopes she's happy. I told her to block her. I don't know if she feels guilty or like she deserves it. She doesn't even want me to replace them and said she'll just try to salvage some of them. So if anyone knows of good sites in the US to buy pictures or pings, hit me up. So, not great. I'm gonna stay single for a while, obviously. But there's some good news. I have a female friend who Maddie has known forever and has had kids, and she took her out to lunch. My issue was that Maddie thought she could power through and take courses in the spring with a newborn. She wouldn't listen to me and told me she'd make it work. My friend was able to convince her that one semester wasn't going to ruin her life, so that is a positive. And the boyfriend, Doug, I talked with his parents. They are like me, not thrilled but going to be supportive and excited for a grandbaby. They live over an hour away, but I told them I had a spare room they could use when they visit. And Doug, who does work part-time while he's in school, I told him yes, work this semester. But next semester, your #1 job is to finish your degree no matter what. I am willing to support them both financially, and with the baby more than I normally would, next semester, because I know the best way to ensure my grandbaby has a good life is making sure their dad has his degree and a good job. He seemed to understand and was thankful. Maybe he's not as much of a ding-dong as I thought he was, lol. So, to recap, I broke up with Vera and she moved in with a friend. We don't know if it was her, but Maddie's plants have been dying and she's devastated. But the boyfriend is doing good and moving in, so he can be a present parent. You're a great example to Doug in how to father a child. Yes, OP is. You are doing a wonderful thing for your daughter and her boyfriend. It's ideal to do things in a certain order, but it doesn't always work out that way. OP giving them a place to stay and supporting them and their babies so they can finish school is amazing. OP is my hero dad for today. Good riddance to Vera. As far as the plants go, I'd try transplanting them. Remove as much soil as possible from the roots first. I agree with this as well. Remove soil carefully. If there's a root ball, shake and poke, then soak it and gently prod with a thin stick to help greatly. Rinse it a ton, even the leaves. Heck, leave the roots in just some spring water for a day or two to help them soak up some water, and then plant them. It'll be a shock to the plants and not all might make it, but I've had plants come back from some seriously awful mistakes and mishaps, so I trust the damage to the plants can be fixed. This is what she's been doing, but most of the leaves and pictures are destroyed. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to find a way to live with my dad's girlfriend's daughter? My dad's girlfriend is Jenny, and she has a daughter, Ruby, who's the same age as me, 17 male. Me and Ruby met when we were 11. She had just moved here and was a transfer student at school. At first, we didn't really interact, and she made friends with some other kids. But then when we did virtual school, she would DM me during classes and ask me if I liked this friend of hers, and she did it so much that I asked her why the heck she kept asking when I said no. I reported it to our teacher and got her into trouble, which pissed her off. Ruby went back to school in person before me and bothered all my friends about me liking her friend. Then she tried to set two of them up with her friend. When I went back to school in person, she tried to kiss me one day out of nowhere, and I stopped her and was like, "What the heck are you doing?" She really tried to make me accept that kiss, but I was taller and stronger than her, so I could keep her away from my mouth easier. After I wouldn't let her kiss me, she went to the principal and said one of my friends assaulted her friend, and she made this big deal out of her friend being afraid to report what happened. Her friend said it was all lies and nobody assaulted her, and Ruby got into huge trouble. That's when I came forward with her trying to kiss me, and it got her into more trouble. My dad knew about the thing with Ruby and had to meet with the principal about it. Me and Ruby ended up sharing a bunch of classes when we started high school, and she acted like we were exes or something. She went from obsessing over me liking her friend to trying to kiss me, and my friends were like, "She probably likes you and wanted to make sure you didn't like the other girl." But everything about it was weird and gross, like trying to get one of my friends in trouble and trying to make me kiss her. It was a few months after high school started that Dad told me he was dating Jenny, and I already had a big problem with him dating her because of Ruby. But I tried to let it go for my dad's sake. But then when he told me 2 months ago that he was going to ask Jenny to move in with him and that would include Ruby, I told him hell no, and I packed a bunch of my stuff and went to my grandparents' house. Dad told me I couldn't just do that, and I said I would not live with Ruby. Jenny and Ruby moved in, and Dad kept trying to make me come home. He said all 4 of us needed to sit down and find a way for me and Ruby to live together, but I said I won't. He asked me why and what I will do when we see each other at family functions, and I told him I'd avoid those functions, or if I was in charge of the guest list, I wouldn't invite her. I accused him of choosing Ruby over me. I know he chose his relationship with Jenny over me. But I was like, the fact you expect me to let her invade more of my life is sick. And I told him I was disappointed in the dad he was being. He told me I wasn't being fair, and since Mom died, Jenny is the only woman who has truly made him happy and showed him a future he wants. He said I could at least try to learn to live with Ruby for a while. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I told him I didn't want that girl anywhere near me. My dad has tried to convince my grandparents to send me back, but they don't want me there either. They told him they don't want to see a violent incident between me and Ruby, and that it could easily happen with the history between us. Dad was like, that wouldn't happen, and he said he wanted us all to try and make this work for his sake. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Real talk, and you need to say this to your dad. What happens when she claims sexual assault? What happens when she goes into your room at night when you are sleeping and physically violates you? What happens when she starts hiding and taking compromising pictures of you? What happens when you have no safe place and no privacy from someone who is already unstable? She can destroy your life before it gets to really start, and your dad is okay with that? My dad thinks therapy fixed her, so those questions are wasted on him. We already fought about that stuff, and he's just so convinced she's changed. Wait until she accuses your dad of something. That will be her next step. Wouldn't be surprised one bit if she turns on him the moment he stops siding with her. Not the a-hole. If you two were alone, and she tried something else and you said no, she could accuse you of rape. You are better off with your grandparents. They are the bosses for standing up to your dad. I'm glad they're in your corner. Same. I legit don't know what I would have done if I had nobody to take me and fight for me. Right now I might be in jail or something, knowing how much of a disaster it would be for me and Ruby to live together. Not the a-hole. Ruby is both obsessed with you and disconnected from reality. After her past accusations about you, you need to keep your distance. Not only would living with her be sheer misery and constant stress for you, but also, if you lived in the same house with her, you could find yourself accused by her of SA. Since you are a minor, your father can insist you move back in with him. I would act preemptively by contacting CPS. Tell them the whole story. You can offer proof through the schools and ask to be emancipated from your father since he is letting your stalker live in his house. I don't know that I trust CPS not to send me back anyway. I'd prefer to stay and fight in the courts than risk a crazy social worker putting me back there. My best friend is a foster kid, so I know that some of them do crazy stuff and don't always take things as seriously as they should.